Okay, so I'm going to start you off with two sayings about the knife. The first one is that in a knife situation, most of the time, expect to get cut. Because even a minor cut done correctly can cause somebody to lose their weapon and also lose their wherewithal and their bearing and everything else, even though they're really functionally good. Versus a person who's ready for that, it might not do anything to them at all. Second thing to tell you is, one of our primary arts, and the one that we focus on in terms of this kind of thing, is Pencak Silat and Kuntal Silat, which are arts from Indonesia and Malaysia, which is a bladed culture. There's enough blades that are normally just carried for everyday work that one of the common sayings about Silat is that there is no Silat without a knife. Part of what that refers to is the idea that even if you don't have a knife out and ready to go, they probably do. And so the assumption on attack, let's say you're just blindsided a bit, isn't that, okay, I didn't see a knife, so they're empty-handed. The assumption is that they have a knife until you know otherwise. Okay, so when we talk about knife attacks, one of the first things that I see that most people deal with is the person produces the knife, and they're standing there. The answer to this, and I've seen a lot of people do stuff where, okay, so then you jump on them and you come in and you're doing this and you're doing that and you can disarm them. And the answer, and I've been attacked at knife point several times where someone kind of did this sort of thing, where it was what I call show and tell. They're showing you the knife and they're telling you things, right, is that. He's standing there, he's not moving. Why am I going to stand there with him? How many times have you read in the newspaper, man stabbed one time? How about man sliced one time? Well, what do you see? Person stabbed 36 times. Person sliced to death. These kinds of things, right? And it's because who attacks and goes, ah! And then maybe they even got the hit, and then they don't do anything else. And the answer is nobody, or almost nobody. Very, 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 very few people. So the other thing you'll see about what we're doing here is that we do not train it, slowly do the one thing there. Here, now stand still. Great, I can hit him in the arm, I can hit him in the arm, I can break the arm, I can go in, I can hit him in the head, I can try to hit him in the head again, I can kick him in the leg. What's the problem here? He's just standing there. Who's going to do that, right? They're not going to do one thing. They're going to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, or continue to slash, or continue to stab, this kind of a thing. And so in training, if you did stationary, okay, 3 to 5 minutes, where he just holds it out in front so you can see something, and everything else should not be that, because you're training for something that's just not realistic at that point if you're continuing from there. One of the things we train that anybody should train is how fast can you employ your weapon, right? And even with that, if he's here where he's at, so he's not close enough to really stab me decently yet, he'd have to lean or step or something. But if he's on his way, you can use your knife there. Yeah, there, see there he wasn't on his way when I said that. Go back there. He had to draw, and so you draw again, and then I've got time to move. Right? At the same time, if he was drawing first, draw yours, and then I come to draw mine, there's a problem here. I'm doing this and he's stabbing me. Right? If it was, and even if it was this one, go ahead and go ahead and so now he stabbed me and I'm on the way, but I'm not to him yet. And that's what me being able to draw instantly, because he was intending to attack. He already had his knife ready to go, and here he comes with it, right? And I'm behind that. So although I would like to draw my weapon, whatever it is, whether that be knife or gun or whatever, I don't have time for it. I will do those things, but I can't do it first. The way that you'll see that we respond for training to knife attacks is that our empty-handed and our knife work is the same work. In other words, what we're going to do with our hands and what we're going to do with our weapon and how we're going to approach them, whether they've got a weapon or empty-handed, it's going to be the same. Now, I've seen a lot of people say this, and then I watch the work they're doing, and it's not. I can tell you for our sake it is, because we assume the knife even if we can't see it. Because in the culture, that's what the attack's going to be. The other thing is that when they're on you with their knife, you're physically defending, but we also essentially are going to be going for ours. Now, when I say that, we do everything we can to avoid fighting and all of that. So the only time we're going to end up in that kind of a thing is it was flat out an attack. right? Because then anything else, if it's interpersonal, if it's somebody that's just ticked at you and they want to smack you one or something, we're just getting away from them. And yeah, really sorry about that, and you know, whatever you can do that's reasonably going to make the peace or make the, we're just not going to be near each other, whatever it is. If it's an attack, I'm defending appropriately for that, and then while defending, that's when we're going and bringing the blade into the mix, as it were, or the weapon, or whatever it is. Now, what I guess I'm trying to tell you is use some common sense to that. Again, it can be something where it's not the bladed weapon and all of that, and there's some responsibility there. But it's somebody I don't know, they're on me like crazy, and I'm defending that, I've got no problem with, and bring the knife into the mix. But it has to be in the process of it, of your movement and your defense, not a separate thing. Because if they're really on you like that, you go for that, your hands are both here while they're doing whatever they're doing to you. And if it's bladed, that's pretty much going to be the end of your life, even if you get them. Or a really bad hospital and all kinds of medical problems for the rest of your life, even if you get them. What I consider for my first real knife instructor and my first real knife education was a girlfriend that I had when I was about 19. I had gone to classes I was studying already, seriously. It was about 1981. And I had learned some, well, if they come at you like this or the knife is here, you do this. And if the knife is kind of like that, you do this. And she was helping me. And so she did that, and I did something, and I could tell she was disgruntled. Now, we lived in the hood, so to speak, and that's where she was from as well. And so she was kind of looking like, And then we did another one, and after about the third one, she finally went, you know what? I was like, what? She went, ah! And I went, ah! Here. And if it had been real, I'd have been sliced to death. And I went, okay, and she was laughing, of course, and I sort of was. At that point, I laughed later. And I went, okay. She was like, yeah, there isn't anybody around here that's going to attack like what you've been working on. I'm like, thank you very much. I got the point. Literally and figuratively. And it was that they're not going to come at you once, you're going to have all day to do whatever. It was they're going to keep coming. And so the first part of knife instruction, if you pull a knife and it was for use, is get moving. The thing I'll tell you about this is that if you take the average person with almost no training with how to use a knife, but they're on the move, flailing, moving, it takes 10 years away from any martial art they've ever seen. Just somebody who's flailing and moving with a knife. 10 years, the martial artist, if he's got less than 10 years, is outmatched already. If they have training, like the amount of training you've got from this, it takes 20 years from the person with the training. They better have 20 years to stand any chance. If they don't have 20 years, they're outmatched.